Well, Tennessee is now one of 6 states suing the company that made and marketed Oxycontin. Attorney General Herbert Slattery filed the suit against Purdue Pharma in Knox County Circuit Court. The lawsuit claims the drug maker played a role in creating the opioid epidemic in Tennessee, also broke laws in promoting its products. Now, that's on top of several other lawsuits from local district attorneys.
Yeah, reporter Grant Robinson joins us tonight with a closer look at the claims. Grant.
Beth Brandon, the state claims Purdue Pharma violated the Tennessee Consumer Protection Act, broke agreements from a previous settlement, and created a public nuisance by interfering with the health of Tennesseans. Attorney General Herbert Slattery says it's time to hold the company accountable.
In the mid-1990s, drug reps promoting what they called a new non-addictive pain pill targeted doctors in a campaign that changed the future of pharmaceutical marketing. As a surgeon, Senator Richard Briggs saw it all firsthand.
And this was marketed as a miracle drug. It was marketed as being non-addicting, it was safe, and that it could be used on these patients that were very difficult to take care of.
Briggs still has the hat and CDs used to promote the pill. Other doctors took the company up on all expenses paid trips to the Caribbean for continuing medical education. Purdue Pharma and 3 leaders in the company pled guilty to misbranding in 2007. That lawsuit led to $600 million in fines and a change in the way the company advertises.
Well, one thing, they've quit marketing the drug as a non-addictive cure-all for all pain problems.
But Tennessee's Attorney General says Purdue Pharma violated its settlement agreement and the Tennessee Consumer Protection Act. Now 6 states and dozens of counties are suing.
One thing is not going to change it, but it's going to take a multifaceted approach to this epidemic that's just ravaging our state.
The CDC says only 15% of people who abuse prescription pain pills buy them from a drug dealer. Most get them from friends or family. So leaders say keeping excess pills out of medicine cabinets is critical.
Briggs says the challenge moving forward is getting people into treatment and preventing a transition from prescription pills to illicit drugs like heroin, while making sure people with chronic pain still receive the treatment they need. Beth, Brandon.
All right, Grant, with the update there. Thank you.